Hi folks, how are we all doing? I'm the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and in Urmston in the northwest of England. I hope you're finding the love and that you're witnessing the blessings in these difficult and challenging times. It is hard, my friends, but we are all in this together. So I'm offering these devotions as my little bit of hope, doing what I can do, playing my role, being a part of the solution, I suppose. These devotions are offered as a balm for the heart, for the mind, the spirit and the soul. And the title for today's reflection is, Are You Awake? So I invite us to still ourselves. Let's invite a loving presence to be here amongst us and to awaken from deep, deep within us all. I have lit the flame of freedom in this cup of belonging, acceptance, and of love. We join together in our physical separation, but united in our devotion to life and to love. Help us to sing for joy like the birds each morning sing their faith in being alive and being here. May we know the deep connections that sustain us, the roots that hold and nurture us beneath the surface of our lives. May we be unafraid to explore the depths of being, the many layers of life. May we remember that we are deeply connected in heart, mind, spirit and soul. May we be open to all that this day brings, to all that life offers, and may we offer our all to life. May our being become a vessel this day and in all the days to come. I'm going to begin today's devotion with one of my favourite poems, A Journey by Edward Field. A Journey by Edward Field. When he got up that morning, everything was different. He enjoyed the bright spring day, but he did not realise it exactly. He just enjoyed it. And walking down the street to the railroad station past magnolia trees with dying flowers like old socks, it was a long time since he had breathed so simply. Tears filled his eyes and it felt good, but he held them back because men didn't walk around crying in that town. Waiting on the platform at the station, the fear came over him of something terrible about to happen. The train was late and he recited the alphabet to keep hold. And in its time it came screeching in, and as it went on making its usual stops, people coming and going, telephone poles passing. He hid his head behind a newspaper, no longer able to hold back the sobs, and willed his eyes to follow the rational weavings of the seat fabrics. He didn't do anything violent as he had imagined. He cried for a long time, but when he finally quieted down, a place in him that had been closed like a fist was open. And at the end of the ride he stood up and got off that train, and through the streets and in all the places he lived in later on he walked himself at last, a man among men, with such radiance that everyone looked up and wondered. Kind of awakening, I think, going on there. The great traditions often speak of the need to wake up, to awaken. Now this awakened state was not meant to be purely for ourselves. It was meant to enable us to act in the world in this awakened state and thus encourage others to do the same, leading them to act in loving and compassionate ways to create a true sense of oneness. To see that there is no separation, only a great unity in life. That there is no us and them, just a great unity in life, no separation, no us, no them, just a one. Wake up to that. Certainly my understandings of the teaching of Jesus was that at its core it was all about this. whether that was to release the prisoners and serve the underprivileged, as in Luke's Gospel, or in a more spiritual sense, as in Matthew's. And I felt this kind of feeling so powerfully as I walked around Capernaum and Galilee this time last year. It was not so long ago, just last year, that Sue and I were there, and I proposed to her that wonderful day by the Sea of Galilee. It was a wonderful day. That day I felt powerfully the feeling that life should always be interpreted by love, I suppose, like the old hymn goes. During our visit to Galilee there were many such moments. That feeling I experienced that day, amazing. There were no storms to experience, although I did witness the problems that can stem from when we humans don't see one another as somehow human too. I saw the division between those who see the land as Palestine and those who see the land as Israel. I saw it in the past, their history. I saw it in the present, and I saw it in the future, because it doesn't seem to be being resolved at any time soon. That Israel, Galilee, Palestine, deeply spiritual place, but it's a land that's shaped by violence and division, and I wish we could wake up to that, to see that we're all one people, born from the one earth, under one sky, one God. Why do we see one another as different? Why can't we wake up to the truth that we're all the same, formed from the same earth, have the same spirit flowing through us, the same blood flowing through us? And yet we see difference. Why can't we wake up to what we are? Now, some 600 years before the ministry of Jesus, the Buddha began his search for enlightenment in India. Some suggest that Jesus had developed his belief system because he visited India himself and was thus exposed to Hinduism and Buddhism. I'm not sure it's true, but it's a nice story. What I reckon is that similar principles have manifested in many human forms throughout human history. I suspect that all of us are capable of waking up to this deep love. We can all wake up and realise the love at the core of all life. We may interpret in different ways due to the culture we're born into. The myths and stories might not be the same, but I think the essence is. We dress them up differently, but beneath the surface there are similar stories, there are similar beliefs, essences to these stories. And it's the essence of truth that we must uncover, that we must wake up to. Now, while the lives of Jesus and the Buddha have parallels, there was one crucial difference actually. The Buddha was born into privilege, which he rejected and went off to discover, to his great dismay, both grinding poverty and death. By contrast, Jesus was born into those very daily realities, an ordinary life. They shared a path to wisdom through mindfulness, prayer, contemplation into the inner journey, to the central core, to love, to God, if you will. They became compassionate witnesses to the world of pain and suffering around them, taking into themselves the world's pain, and they returned infinite compassion and boundless love embodied in the reassurance of resurrection and hope, or rebirth in the Buddhist tradition. When the Buddha was asked, "What are you? Are you a god, an angel, a saint?" he answered no to each question. The questioner persisted, and he replied enigmatically, "I am awake." As Jesus was, to the dual reality of living in the face of death. Both intuitively understood that suffering could be turned to joy through sacred living, following the Dharma, as the Buddha put it, through salvation and nirvana, or what Jesus called eternal life. Through the lives they lived, they modelled a better way of living, both examples to what we can be if we were to awaken to the love within us. Now, no doubt one or two of you are thinking, "Yeah, this is all very interesting, Danny, but what does it mean to wake up? And what do we need to wake up from, or to, if you like?" Well, I would say just simply look around you and within you. Take time in contemplation. It will awaken the senses that you have been given and enable you to respond to the needs around you. Or to quote Rabindranath Tagore, a man deeply influenced by Eastern and Western traditions, and who became a great influence both here and in India. This is his understanding. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. By waking up, we will know the joy of living through simply loving service. That's what it means to follow the great examples, to be awake, to wake up. To awaken to our world is all it means to wake up. Just be awake to what is all around you. So let's wake up to this world that we live in, to its beauty and its wonder, and also its tragedy and its pain. Let's wake up to the reality in which we live and respond to it in loving ways. Let's wake up to the idea that our wholeness, our lives, are only as complete as the lives of those around us, of those we are inextricably tied to in a great web of mutuality, of which we are all a part and to which we all belong. So let's wake up and let's stay awake. Now, for some folk, waking up can be a terrifying thing. There have been times in my life when I have not wanted to wake up and face another day. So many people experience this on a daily basis. So many people wake up frightened for a multitude of reasons. To be truly awake is to be compassionate to them. To be truly awake, it is vital to acknowledge this suffering in life and to stand with those who suffer. If you can't do that, you are still asleep. But it's also just as important to express the beauty of life and to express gratitude for the incredible joy that can be human living. I feel that quite often, wandering around, just simply walking by the canal some days. It's enough for me. But with all this in mind, I thought I'd leave you with a question. It's a question that comes from the Sufi tradition of Islam, from the beautiful poetry of Rumi. It's a kind of antidote to the feeling that might come on these days when we wake up empty and feel frightened, as many people do. In fact, we all do at some point. So I'm going to leave you with a question, and then the words of Rumi. Question for today, but maybe it's a question for every day. What might it mean to you to kneel and kiss the ground? And here are the verses from Rumi. Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open the door to the study and begin reading. Take down a musical instrument. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are 100 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. What might it mean to you to kneel and kiss the ground? So I'm going to end today's reflection with some final words of blessing. We need to bless more. When we kneel and kiss the ground, that really is blessing. And we can all bless. We bless by giving our whole hearts to life. So let's begin by blessing right now. Let's give our whole hearts to life. I offer these final words of blessing. May the Eternal bless you and protect you. May the Eternal smile on you and favour you. May the Eternal befriend you and prosper you. May we carry the song of the Eternal with us, and may we do so in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, and in all that we do. Amen.